Maybe instead of old Jing away, we've spoken about it being good against the Chernobog there, but obviously having the CC immune ultimate is so important.
Huge.
And I guess you can't always guarantee it's going to be an Ares, but now you know you've got to just be wary.
It's gonna be banned this game, I think, in the second ban phase. If you have any sort of idea that it could be good against your top 3, Noitulover, not an MVP performance based on the chat, but based on what he brought to the game, certainly that same level.
Well, Nocturnes then, they're 1 game away from moving on to tomorrow. GetOnMyLeveL, 1 more level potentially away from going home. Ratatoska will be the first ban this time round. Why is Rat rising so much?
He's just so good in the early to mid game. He pressures the map better than any other jungler right now.
Is that because of his Acon that he doesn't have to base there?
It's huge for him because it kind of similar to how we've seen some mages go for the boots to Lost Artifact start, because that way they can buy full boots for that first buff invade. Rat can do that without backing and stay on that map that whole time, and that is really critical. It's the semi-global ultimate, it's his damage and prot shred and CC potential that he brings, and by the time that he starts to fall off in damage, the rest of your team should be far enough ahead off of the way that you play that it doesn't really matter. I think that he is a premier jungler right now.
GetOnMyLeveL going to ban away the Chonga, so they felt like Beltway was causing too many problems for them in that solo lane. So this kind of spells that maybe GetOnMyLeveL do end up going back towards this Zhong.
Could. I mean, it's not a bad idea. I do think that it's just a little bit too team fight oriented for what GetOnMyLeveL should be doing in my mind, which is, again, trying to get lane pressure. And Zhong doesn't lose lane, but doesn't really win lane either most of the time. He's just kind of there, getting his stacks, getting towards the mid game where he can really be unkillable and do a bunch of damage in the team fights. I'm looking for stuff like Chulainn, you know, like Hercules, Osiris, something that can really dominate that solo lane.
I'm expecting more Osiris this tournament. I think today will be the day we see more of it.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. Wolves looks so good on it that I think that even for a lot of the PC players, it's one of those things that he does so well on it, and to the point where you go, maybe he is okay. You know, maybe we should try him out. It might have been too late in the practice, you know, theme. Usually you want to practice things for a week or 2 at least leading up to LAN. So it might have come in too late for that idea, but I think that Wolves proved to me that Osiris is certainly viable.
Nocturnes taking a long time to think about their second ban this time round. They've got a few options available to them. I don't think there's anything GetOnMyLeveL really drafted that they were specifically worried about. Maybe take the Chernobog away just in case it gets taken away as an option.
Could be. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Athena was their ban in game 1, and I think that's a fine ban here as well, though Noitulover can certainly play it. He does prefer the Ares and the Sylvanas and those sorts of more playmaking supports at times. So I wouldn't be surprised if Nocturnes stick with that Athena ban. Let GetOnMyLeveL make their adjustment, because if they do take Chernobog, then Nocturnes get Zhong for themselves.
Definitely looking to GetOnMyLeveL though, and when I look at that team, if I have to specifically focus a player of the team, or there's a player I'm worried about, it's Kamiru. I think his performances so far, even with him role changing for this event, he's the one that stood out to me as having decent performances throughout.
Yes, and apex as well in the jungle, I think, has made some decent plays on the Susano. I mean, it's the little things.
You can't ban a jungler out these days.
No, you really can't, because assassins are all really, really good. So I think it's difficult to ban them out. But as far as players to watch out for, I think that it's that mid-jungle for GetOnMyLeveL, which is funny, because as you mentioned, Kamiru doesn't even play mid lane most of the time.
It will be the Chernobog then. The top was the choice by Nocturnes, but this leaves up the Athena, which they banned, as you said, in game 1. So I guess it's the Athena for themselves alongside
I think I'd go with Athena Zhong, because that makes your solo lane unkillable. I mean, good luck ganking a Zhong with a Defender of Olympus on top of him. It's just not going to happen. So I think that if I'm Nocturnes, I'm going Athena Zhong here. You could go for something like the Janus again. That's what Nas played in game 1 and looked very, very good on it. I think that that's fine, but knowing that Kamiru is fresh to the role, Janus is a very different style of mage than any other god in the game. So you don't know that he might not necessarily be as comfortable on it. But if you're going to do as well as Nas did in the last game, you're not giving up much by going for it.
Yeah, kind of fine with the Athena Janus here then, and see what GetOnMyLeveL do in response if they do go for that Zhong. Well, the counter pick options for that solo lane still up there. I think an Odin the solo, if they did run the Zhong, would be good with the Athena and a Janus. Good rotational ability there. GetOnMyLeveL have some tricky decisions to ask. They've showed up their hunter position quite clearly early on, giving them some prime real estate there, but the question is, who else do they want?
Now, again, the pregame interview for GetOnMyLeveL, he said that they were looking at high CC because that's what they expected Nocturnes to take. I wouldn't describe Nocturnes' last composition as high CC. That was mobility, that was global pressure with the Janus, and it was just team fight ability. Also the ability to just take 2-on-2s and 1-on-1s where necessary. So I wonder if GetOnMyLeveL is going to change their strategy to try and match it. I think it does speak to their mentality, to where they see what the other team is doing, and they're just going to try and do more of that. Instead of trying to counter it a different way, pick gods that aren't affected as much by CC. Ullr is affected heavily by CC. He can really struggle. It's just that he also brings a lot of CC of his own. And so I think that mentality there is an interesting one from GetOnMyLeveL, and I wonder if they're going to try and match that sort of semi-global pressure with something like a Thor in the jungle.
Chulainn, Poseidon are the two lock-ins. Do you like Poseidon into Janus? I'm a big proponent of that. It's actually not too bad against Athena as well, just preventing those dashes, or at least punishing those dashes if they don't go so well. It's another terrible situation, but it has opened the door then for Nocturnes to look towards that Zhong, and they're going to take that for themselves now. A little bit concerned Nocturnes' draft is going to get a little out of hand with how this one's looking.
Scary. That's 3 picks that you really don't want to see any enemy team get one of, and they've gotten all 3. But I do like the Chulainn. I was asking for more pressure in the solo lane, and I'm getting it from Gamal. This Poseidon pick, I don't mind, but I don't like Poseidon into Zhong because it's impossible to burst him in the early game, even with a level 5 Kraken. And I think I would have much preferred to see Susano picked there for Apex because it is so good against Janus. It can disposition the Zhong fairly easily before he uses his ultimate.
Yeah.
And it's something that Apex has played to a fairly high level so far.
Thinking about it, instead of Poseidon, what would have been the issue of going back to the Agni?
Yeah, I think the Agni was fine.
I think the Agni's fine, and against that comp too, it's pretty good against Janus for the most part. You can poke him from range and make him, well, punish him a little bit from when he steps up to the way for the unstable vortexes. And against the Zhong, you can create good space with a bit of CC to slow him down too.
Yeah, I think that I would have gone for Susano there and then picked Agni later on. Poseidon almost certainly still would have been on the table, especially with the Zhong. When you have one god that's really, really good against a potential counter pick for someone else on your team, oftentimes you kind of forget about that and be like, oh, they won't pick it because it's horrible into this. So they wouldn't select that, even though they wouldn't necessarily see you all the time. Surprised that it's a dodge G-ban instead of that Susano. I think that Apex is going to be very pleased that pick is still available.
I agree as well. And now with the one circuit, a ban from GetOnMyLeveL, no real surprise to make sure they don't allow SmiteVOD to get that back one more time. He's going to have some interesting decisions about what he wants to run in the jungle here. The Athena can technically jungle. We just want to point that out.
Yeah. That would make them awfully magical heavy. You would basically need a warrior support if you wanted to make that work. It could work.
We've not seen warrior supports in a little minute, really.
We really haven't. I mean,
I don't think there's any harm in them.
No, I don't think so either. I think that Guardians are really good right now, and there's not a whole lot of reason to go for warrior support. But if you are going Athena jungle, Zhong solo, you do need a warrior support. Yeah. I think Guan Yu is the obvious one that I'd want to take off the bat first.
Well, on the table, sorry, was Jing, and this is the matchup that I've seen more and more as this tournament's gone on against Chernobog. These seems to be the two that if one team gets churned, the other one goes for the Jing to kind of answer a little bit of that mobility and also be able to avoid some of the incoming damage.
Yeah, I think it's smart. Also, don't forget that Chernobog ultimate, when you're trying to chase someone down, maybe get back to lane and also have kill potential at the same time, no one will clear more space than Jing whenever she sees that shadow appear. So that slow won't catch her up. You won't be able to catch her with just a simple dash or even a double dash if you go through a wall. You just can't keep up with Jing in that regard.
Cerberus and Habwa are the last 2 picks. So it's Chernobog Cerberus duo lane up against the Athena Jing. Poseidon versus the Janus more than likely in the mid lane with the Habwa in the jungle. But who is this Habwa going to take on?
I don't know. Not Jing because she can dash away from that water spout very easily. I don't think he's going to be able to kill Zhong very easily. Janus is basically the only prime target right now for Apex. And remember, Apex played this yesterday against Energy, and Energy exploited it heavily. He was way down really early, and if Nocturnes watch that game back, they should be able to try and emulate what Energy did.
It does seem that with what they've seen here from Kamiru on this Poseidon, I think he's going to have to go for this control build, not go for the damage burst. He's going to be there to try and shut down with these cripples, so maybe just CDR. And, of course, we're going to have the slows coming out as much as possible from the Gem of Isolation.
If I'm Poseidon here, I'm going cooldown boots, Gem of Spear of the Magus, Gem of Isolation. Those are my first
Susano is the, shut down Susano with the mobility, Athena too, try and put the pressure on there.
Set up your Habwa, man. This is actually a really nice spot to be in as a Poseidon player because you don't need to be getting the world's best Kraken every team fight. You just need the world's best Whirlpool every team fight.
Sure.
Honestly, I mean, I preach about it all the time on the desk and during the cast. Whirlpool placement as Poseidon players more important than Kraken placement every fight.
You guys at home get to make a vote on who you think will win this one. At the moment, I've seen Nocturnes up 1-0 is a best of 3 after all. How are you looking, Ryan?
Man, I think that this is a much better composition from GetOnMyLeveL. I do not like this Habwa pick finally, though. I think that kind of swayed me back towards Nocturnes.
Really?
Plus, Nas gets that Janus again. Beltway gets another kind of easy laning phase potentially with this Zhong, and his team fight is so good.
All right, well, let's get it to John Finch and Taco to bring us game 2.
I like that from him, dude. Let's get it. That's how he starts it off.
Let's get it.
When we move into game 2 here between GetOnMyLeveL and Nocturns Gaming. You heard them talk a little bit about it. Curious about this Habwa, Taco. aPex has a lot of pressure after struggling with this pick earlier on in the tournament. What is he going to need to do to make sure that this Habwa pick can be successful here?
It's difficult, Finch, because I think that aggro was definitely headed down the right direction, though, in that you don't want to be landing the world's greatest Kraken every team fight. You want the world's greatest Whirlpool every team fight, because if you can get a slow proc available, start pulling the members of Nocturnes towards you, then you can bring aPex close enough within that range to get the water cannon off, to get the crushing wave off, water spout even into the crushing wave. So the burst damage is possible, but I like this. I mean, it's
yes.
something new.
Look at this grouping here from GetOnMyLeveL, starting immediately at the enemy purple buff instead of going to the wave, as well as waiting perhaps to try and invade the speed. So this is clearly a strat that they've been working on. Their backs against the wall. If they fall here, they're eliminated. So they got to bring out all the stops. Looks like they are going to be able to strip away the speed buff, and now SmiteVOD could be in trouble. They don't have quite enough damage to get the kill, but they do take the buff, and they bring him low enough. He might even have to back.
GetOnMyLeveL going to continue assisting aPex here as they just look to wipe out the entirety of SmiteVOD's right side jungle there, trailing off over into the solo. Don't believe that Beltway is going to be able to solo invade the blue buff either from GetOnMyLeveL, so he's just going to have to hold that as GetOnMyLeveL and aPex freely walk away from those invades.
But the dual lane, Jerem and Maker, they miss an entire wave underneath the tower. They do grab their own purple buff. Even looks like they were able to strip the enemy purple buff and grab their own, it looks like here. They are going to try and come in and grab the wave here now, but they had to give up that entire first one.
But GetOnMyLeveL choosing to make such an aggressive play so early on both sides of the map.
Yes.
At that, it just goes to show that this is a team who is very clearly still in it mentally. They are looking for a comeback in this set, and now they're going to have to feel a little concerned here for Kamiru, because Nocturnes trying to get off an invade of their own, but it won't be successful. Ward vision was placed on that red buff, but a little bit too late to try and actually strip it away from Kamiru.
It does work out well for them to at least be able to defend that red buff. This has hindered Noitulover just a little bit, who's still level 1, has not really been able to find much experience with this early start that's come out as Maker puts out some good damage. But Taco, I mean, this is it. GetOnMyLeveL, whatever cards they have, they got to put them on the table, right? They can't afford to drop here without having tried everything that they have at their disposal. And this feels like that kind of game from GetOnMyLeveL. They are not ready to go home yet.
I feel like the emphasis is going to be placed pretty heavily onto the solo side also from GetOnMyLeveL. The fact that they invaded so early on and they're looking for it one more time there onto the speed buff off the very first respawn.
I'm right there with you, Taco. Kamiru and aPex, two very watery boys, here to try and strip away the speed buff. SmiteVOD grabs it, but he has to give it up, at least for now. Still does have a little bit of help in the form of Kamiru, but yet again looks like here GetOnMyLeveL able to come in and aggress onto the speed buff. They have GetOnMyLeveL, the player, rotating over to try and back them up, so they do have to fall out.
Jerem taunted into Noitulover, and that was probably the best case scenario for SmiteVOD on that one. Able to successfully defend his speed buff, also gets the back off. Could have picked it up, but actually choosing not to, at the risk of maybe some members from GetOnMyLeveL still being nearby.
I want to go over forward as the meditation comes out. Two-man taunt comes out from Noitulover. Zaionsix is going aggressive because they have SmiteVOD waiting in the wings with a first blood opportunity. Sprint comes out from GetOnMyLeveL defensively. This is the right call, but SmiteVOD is able to cover too much ground. Beads from Maker does keep him alive. That was essential to avoid giving up the first blood.
But just like that, now the tides have turned here for Nocturnes, as they're the ones looking for the invade onto the purple buff from GetOnMyLeveL, and I'm not sure that Jerem or Maker are all that interested in defending it. No, sure enough, Noitulover going to claim that one for his own. So SmiteVOD's rotation, albeit a bit early, proves to be pretty useful.
It does put some pressure on to GetOnMyLeveL here in the lane. As we were talking a little bit, Taco, about what the setup was going to be for this Poseidon early on, and probably going to be some pressure on Jerem to make that happen here on this Cerberus pick for them. So It's important for Nocturnes to try and pressure him so he can't do the kind of setup that he wants for Kamiru.
As soon as SmiteVOD hits level 5, though, I want to see him come back around to this dual lane. Maker's beads aren't going to be up by the time he hits 5, I'm pretty sure. And if he's able to get a successful gank off to shut down this Chernobog early on, that's going to put Zaionsix in a really great position. As Apex, Crushing Wave, and Kraken were deployed, but they weren't able to connect onto Nocturnes.
Not going to be enough, and Nocturnes comfortably falls back. Didn't have beads available, and looks like still has held on to the ult as well, so not too much trouble coming out there in the middle lane as Kamiru, level 6, does appear to have that slight advantage.
Maybe thought that the Whirlpool Cripple had actually procced onto Nocturnes, but it seems like one threshold was able to speed him on out of that damage.
It does appear that he was able to very comfortably leave the aggression he saw there in the middle lane. Is GetOnMyLeveL looking for the blue buff in vain. SmiteVOD making the rotation over, unable to strip away the blue buff is going to be GetOnMyLeveL, but he should be able to salmon leap away even though he couldn't steal it. Beltway should now be able to rather comfortably carry that buff around his waist.
The fact that SmiteVOD had to rotate over, though, does leave an opening here for Apex. Actually, I take that back. It was still really well timed from SmiteVOD because Apex did just use his ultimate in the mid lane. He's got nothing left in the tank.
GetOnMyLeveL could be potentially in trouble here, though, as Beltway goes aggressive. Just barely not enough damage ticking down from the card, and he will be able to survive. First blood still not drawn here. 5.5 minutes of the game, but it could happen here now with Apex lurking in the duo side jungle, but no opportunity.
GetOnMyLeveL trying to not give any signs to Beltway that that blue buff is still up for the taking. In fact, he's got to be careful now that he doesn't get spotted out by SmiteVOD, but with the transformation coming through, he's actually good to go for heading back into his lane. SmiteVOD probably still going to hover solo side, though. I think they've got the damage to take down GetOnMyLeveL if he pushes up.
They recognize that they do have that damage, now going in aggressively. Typhoon has been charged, but not going to get the knock-up. GetOnMyLeveL survives the aggression yet again, but this time he will have to back, and there is no teleport available for him, so that's why he's trying to stick this one out and being a little stubborn. Salmon Leap gets him the kill, and he'll be able to survive.
That card still just slowly ticking away, proving to be a small bit of a handicap there for him, but with Kamiru and Apex lurking on the jungle side, Beltway, love that map awareness, sees no one anywhere in mid lane, just have to assume there's probably people venturing over to solo since SmiteVOD has spent so much time on this side.
Yeah, Nocturns Gaming have the entire map, it feels like, aggressively warded as Beltway wants to go for the kill again. This time Defender of Olympus should all but guarantee it. First blood to Nocturnes, and most importantly onto the Zhong to get him off to a good start.
That Defender of Olympus was mostly damage mitigation, so the Zhong could freely dive that tower, and Beltway with the Zhong first blood. That's a scary fact.
Yes, it is, isn't it? It's a problem when Zhong is able to sort of make it to that mid game and hasn't been harassed. It's even worse when he's able to get there accelerated, and that's what a first blood can do, especially if you will have lane pressure on to GetOnMyLeveL, the player, after this in lane. We'll see if perhaps Apex can have some impact there because we haven't been able to really see him do much so far this game. SmiteVOD's made some attempts. They haven't been successful, but Apex hasn't really been able to find it.
So long as Beltway is able to maintain control of this solo lane, that's going to be problematic for GetOnMyLeveL because that early play, you can't, or you don't want to see your solo laner end up falling behind after you have the successful invades and you see GetOnMyLeveL going for the invade himself. In fact, Apex underneath a little bit of trouble here, going to get wind siphoned in by SmiteVOD, but the water carpet, just a quick little ride away.
Beads coming out from Kamiru on the left-hand side. That was Noitulover forcing those out with a taunt. Should make him a nice target for SmiteVOD in the mid lane if he wants to rotate over there. As Nocturnes really want to strip away this blue buff. A nice knock-up from GetOnMyLeveL. Salmon Leap in aggressively. Typhoon does get the knock-up, just not enough damage as Beltway does successfully take away the buff. Apex wants to go in aggressive because he has support coming in from the Chernobog as Maker rotates in too.
I don't think Beltway realized how low Maker's mana is. Crushing Wave not going to connect, and Defender of Olympus is back up off cooldown. Noitulover now coming in with the charge. Meditation popped immediately. Jerem gets a Stingent Torment onto 2, but Jerem's all by himself.
Just rotating over to try and help the team. He pays the ultimate price. Beltway gets that kill, but Apex got to be a little bit better on that gank next time. Too many things off the mark in that attempt, and unfortunately that means for GetOnMyLeveL that Beltway survives, and another kill for Nocturnes. 2-0-0 now for this Zhong level 9.
That crushing wave just a little bit too far to the left. Speaking of left, Nozek's going to have to push forward to get out of that Kraken with those purification beads. Kamiru taunted back in. Unstable Vortex, he's just got to juke it, and it's not good enough. Kamiru going to end up falling also to Nozek's and Noitulover in the mid lane.
This is a great rotation from Noitulover, particularly the impact he's had on Kamiru in the mid lane. The taunt earlier to get the beads, just now helping to set up for the kill for Nozek's that they found. Now GetOnMyLeveL in trouble on the right-hand side. Is going to get the push, but able to follow through quite comfortably as SmiteVOD. They don't have done any more damage to finish this one off, so they will fall back, but this should force him back to base.
This is not a comfortable position to be in, though, if you're GetOnMyLeveL. He has been struggling in this solo lane for the past few minutes now. It just feels like someone is always there from Nocturnes to help apply even more pressure to this Chulainn. And all the while, it's just so quiet on the opposite side of the map. Maker even 2 levels behind Zaionsix, despite no action really taking place here.
And that was even with him trying to make that rotation over to solo lane, but it just was not fruitful. This tier 1 tower is down before the 10-minute mark. I mean, Nocturnes have so much pressure on the right-hand side. This is the absolute worst scenario when there's a Zhong picked, is when he's the one with all the pressure early on, because he's really more of a mid-game bully, and now he's going to be able to get to that phase relatively easily. It's not just him, though. Nozek's has a bit of a lead. You already highlighted Zaionsix out in front as well. It's a bit global now for Nocturnes.
But Beltway just starting to do whatever the hell he wants,
yes.
Pushing forward into the jungle, looking for back heartbeats. He is just harassing the entirety of GetOnMyLevel's jungle, and GetOnMyLevel, the player, now looking for a little bit of a trade-off here, but he's got to be careful. He's pushing pretty far in, and Beltway knows something is up because there's
Maybe
no
not.
way a level 9 Chulainn just dashes in.
Kraken is here to find the knock-up and traps him inside the whirlpool. Kamiru finally is able to make a good rotation. GetOnMyLevel over-aggressive, and Beltway kind of takes the bait and turns around for the fight and just gets punished for it.
Figure that he might have suspected a rotation happening there. Jaren gets taunted in.
Probably
nice dash taunt
have.
from Noitulover into the Unstable Vortex portal combination from Nozek's. Great poke there onto Jaren. 3/4 of his health just wiped away in a single moment.
Life's hard, Taco, for a level 7 Cerberus out here. It's just not easy.
But he's such a good boy.
He is. That new skin, I'm all about it.
He's the best pupper.
I'm all about it. I'm not even one of those
crying
people.
somewhere.
I'm not even one of those people who's like super always loves dogs that are super cute, but we'll talk about it another time as Goldfree being looked at. GetOnMyLevel have to drop it through space and time. Comes out from Nas. That is enough to get GetOnMyLevel to fall back. Nocturnes don't want to pull this one for themselves, though.
Pretty cheeky Gold Fury pull attempt there, though, from GetOnMyLevel. But just in case, you never know. Nocturnes might have been sleeping there. They were able to make the rotation in time, of course, but it's going to be really difficult for GetOnMyLevel to actually steal an objective right underneath the noses of Nocturnes. So long as they have that through space and time, Nozek's going to be able to bring the whole team with him.
Oh, Zaionsix finds the solo kill. Maker, no chance, not when the explosive bolts come out. Impressive play from the Jingwei, 1-0-0, and that's not really how you'd expect a Jingwei Chernobog lane to go.
This is not the way that you want your Jingwei Chernobog lane to go, but Maker just not able to keep up with the farm. Zaionsix, now that he's got that Devos fully stacked, even the Warrior Tabi, he already gets attack speed whenever he knocks himself up with the persistent gust, so you don't necessarily have to opt for those Ninja Tabi. I like what he's doing here with the build, and the fact that he's playing so aggressively also just means that GetOnMyLevel now have to decide, do we help our solo lane or do we help our duo?
Gold Fury brought now to about half HP. Kamiru's nearby, GetOnMyLevel as well. They have the Kraken. Ultimate comes out from Maker. He gets pulled back in right away, but holds on to his beads. Actually, the turnaround of SmiteVOD is huge, but it's not enough. Zaionsix gets Maker. SmiteVOD falls in trade. Noi2 is very low as well, and GetOnMyLevel is here now to even things out as Kamiru gets a nice kill. But now comes in Beltway on the Zhong to recall all the demons. Kamiru has nowhere to go, just barely outranges the auto, but that does not save Jero.
Everybody kind of forgets about the Jingwei and the Zhong rotating in after the fact, but Beltway still looking to chase out GetOnMyLevel. That slow gonna get popped as he'll be able to leap away from danger, and Gold Fury pulled one more time. Beltway able to tank it up for his team here.
Well, Noitulover is going to be right back in the fray with Defender of Olympus. Gold Fury should rather cleanly be going over to Nocturns Gaming. to push them out into their first real lead here of the game. GetOnMyLeveL just comes to check just to make sure, but unfortunately he's going to find an unwelcoming party here to greet him. Does not, though, end up falling. Nocturns Gaming can't all in commit on the level 12 Chulainn, and they fall back.
Just imagine when the Gem of Isolation, if it gets built.
I was thinking the same thing.
It almost feels like you're moving backwards sometimes.
Kamiru does not just walk away when that is picked up.
No, not by any means. But the same could be said for Kamiru, though. He could also be slowing Beltway at the same time. It's battle of the slows, I think, between Poseidon and a Zhong. I'd probably favor the card just a little bit more, though.
Yes, I would. Along with that ultimate, if Beltway makes that same rotation with a few more items under his belt, I think he might have a triple kill in his future. As GetOnMyLeveL, the player, might be in a little bit of trouble here as well. The card is going to land, does have the ultimate, and that means he's going to make it into that rage form. That shield should be enough to keep him alive, just barely. But
he's just barely surviving, and that's the problem. 1v1, and he still is just unable to keep up. Chulainn into the Zhong, just not having a very good time about it. He's been doing what he can to mitigate some of the damage from the pressure being applied in solo. He's had some nice rotations on the opposite side of the map. Speaking of rotations, SmiteVOD now joining the fray in the mid lane as Zaionsix makes it 2. And the crushing wave completely whiffs out of iApex.
Even if it had, Aegis came out anyway. iApex just having a rough game. Noitulover brings him down eventually. That's 3 members that GetOnMyLeveL in the grave. Nocturns Gaming with all 5 members still standing tall. A little bit rough there in the middle lane, Taco, but Nocturns Gaming can kind of put you off your game a little bit.
You ever just catch yourself holding your breath when you see a Habwa ultimate happen?
Yeah.
It's like
you have to kind of hold your breath so you can do the whoa, the big like ultimate. You have to hold your breath first.
He's still got the best death animation in the game.
It's really good. Tier 1 tower should be coming down for Nocturns Gaming. It looks like, though, Jerem and GetOnMyLeveL here, they want to fight this. Maker is up in the air for his ultimate as well, so not going to be free for Nocturns after all. Kraken comes out, but Beltway has the Aegis, doesn't take too much damage. Tier 1 tower defended, but GetOnMyLeveL have to expend quite a few ultimates.
One big thing I am noticing, though, Finch, no Chun got sustained this time around for Nocturns Gaming, and I think that is making just a little bit of a difference here, because otherwise, we see that T1 tower falling no matter what. Nocturnes can probably keep pushing back in. In fact, GetOnMyLeveL pulling the Pyromancer now, but Vision's there for Nocturnes.
Through space and time comes out from Nas. That does hit quite a few on the backside. They grab the Pyromancer, but Zaionsix grabs GetOnMyLeveL. The Chulainn falls early on. Nocturns Gaming have a chance to keep aggressing as Maker has the beads and the Aegis, but Typhoon is charged, and it's just too strong. He falls as well. iApex is juking around on the carpet, has to use the crushing wave to get away, so those 2 kills will be the only ones, but now Nocturnes want to get that tier 1.
But Nocturnes just get so much and for so little.
Yes.
GetOnMyLeveL, I like the play to go over the Pyromancer, but once you recognize that Nocturnes clearly are aware of what's going on, you're probably better off just backing there. You don't want to keep pushing or pushing their buttons, pretty much. I think that they were trying to see what they could get away with, and sure, you take the Pyro, but losing 2 members of your team, plus your crushing wave, one of your main team fighting ultimates there, that's a much more substantial blow.
Yeah, definitely a lot lost there. If we could see those charts, we can take a look, because the gold lead is not too bad. It's only 4,600. But yeah, as I suspected, the experience, Taco, is the real problem here. There's, what, 8,000 down at this point, and it's spread out evenly. It's not just one lane where there's a huge lead. Multiple lanes for Nocturnes are out in front.
I'm mostly looking towards Zaionsix and Maker here. Zion has just been having an incredible game on this Jing way, and Maker not so much so on the Chernobog. It has just not been panning out very well for him, and he's got a very similar build. It's just that Zaionsix has seemed to have a little bit more presence.
He has had a bit more presence here throughout the game, and that's with Maker with that global ultimate. It's just when he arrives, he really hasn't been able to have much impact. Some of it does come down to these junglers, though. SmiteVOD, I feel like, has done just a way better job applying pressure across the entire map, and that does make it easier to operate. Jerem gonna need to find an easier way to operate as well, as he does have to drop the Stygian Torment just to survive. Nocturnes commit nothing.
Jerem's also someone who's had a relatively quiet game so far here in Match 2. Match 1, it felt like he was a pretty heavy focal point on the Kumbhakarna. Noitulover constantly looking to spam him with those Ares chains, but now Maker trying to do what he can. He's stuck inside of that wall for a moment, but with no actives available, this Chernobog just has no chance of survival. And sure enough, SmiteVOD with the Typhoon gonna end up gobbling Maker right up.
And where else would they go but right over to the Gold Fury Taco? It's GetOnMyLeveL who's nearby trying to defend. iApex is lying in the wings, but they can't make it in. Not at all. Nocturnes grab this Gold Fury for free.
The big thing for me here, and the main difference, actually hold that thought, iApex going to lose his Purification Beast, so a nice taunt there from Noitulover, and they're not done just yet. All of Nocturnes looking to give chase into the T2 even.
They weren't sure if they wanted to go through the portal or not is what I think we saw happen there. So in the end, everyone from GetOnMyLeveL is able to survive, but Maker again is the one that falls, and Gold Fury goes to Nocturnes. In fact, they want the speed buff as well.
They might get it. No, SmiteVOD loses half of his health bar. This could be a chance for GetOnMyLeveL to maybe try and take a stance on their T2 tower, but no one's in position for this. They have one member here, GetOnMyLeveL, all by his lonesome into the entirety of Nocturnes.
That's what Noitulover and the Athena taunt can do for you. Dash in taunt, no way for GetOnMyLeveL to respond. He has Blink and Teleport, no beads, no Magis. That's just going to work every single time, especially with him only being level 15. He's behind everyone on Nocturnes except for the Athena.
And this is just taking me back to that original point I was trying to make, Finch, in that the primary difference between these two teams is Nocturnes are a lot more systematic with their moments of initiation. They choose to fight when the objectives are there or when they're close by and freshly respawn. And that's been all the difference here between GetOnMyLeveL and Nocturnes, because GetOnMyLeveL, they might have a successful pick, but there's nothing left for them to grab after. There's no tower pressure that they can apply. There's no buffs for them to invade. They're kind of just left as sitting ducks after making great plays, and so it ends up amounting to nothing in the grand scheme of things, but Nocturnes have just been building little by little into their empire this match.
Yeah, and you're sort of right to say that everything from Nocturnes has felt deliberate, right? Whereas GetOnMyLeveL have been reactive, or it's been like opportunistic. They've just kind of been able to find an opportunity. But Nocturnes they're forcing your beads, and they're coming back 60 seconds later for the kill, or they're forcing your beads like, well, let's force a fight around Gold Fury where we know that we've got the advantage, or you have less cooldowns. Nocturnes are definitely the ones setting the pace, and GetOnMyLeveL have not been able to slow it down.
Speaking of which, Janus portal and the entire party's here, but this time it's going to connect with the crushing wave. Nozik's going to be forced to back off, but that won't save the life of iApex as he ends up falling to Noito.
Two-man pull brings back in Jeremy and GetOnMyLeveL. Zaionsix does end up stunned, but they're going to grab this tier 1 tower without any trouble. GetOnMyLeveL and Jerem have to fall back in this duo lane. And the tier 2 towers over in solo are already gone. There's only the one tier 2 tower in mid, as well as the one here in duo, and they're ready to take them down.
Yeah, we've seen this one happen a few times before already, Finch. They've got the Fire Giant sustained to keep them going nice and healthy. Creep waves pushing down the left-hand side. This could be a very real Phoenix opportunity here. Maker bound to have recognized it by now, but it's only Jeremy GetOnMyLeveL left to defend, and Jerem, poor level 13 Cerberus, doesn't stand a chance.
Yeah, he was there for a moment, but only a moment. Aegis, it looks like, allows him to immune the damage coming out there from that Kraken, so no trouble for SmiteVOD. Phoenix on the left-hand side comes down. Nocturns Gaming, they're trying to move forward and close this set out right here, right now. Pyromancer does go to GetOnMyLeveL, but Nocturnes seem undeterred. They want the tier 2 tower in mid.
Playing it safe and by the book. Can't fault this in the slightest. Don't want to take any chances because this is their tournament life on the line here, Finch. Whoever, if GetOnMyLeveL loses, this is over.
That's it. It's done for them. They know that they have to find a way to win this game and keep themselves in this tournament, but it's so difficult when you're up against this level 18 Zhong that Beltway is currently piloting. SmiteVOD goes in aggressively, gets the pull off onto Jerem, who only just respawned, and there's the damage from Zaionsix and the two-man taunt that pulls them all right back into the Typhoon and the airstrike. Another nice kill comes out for Nocturnes, and the 5v4, they want this Phoenix.
Everybody's got to go heal. GetOnMyLeveL gonna blink forward. Nice three-man knockup, but there's no follow-up damage.
It looks like no one knew that was even going to be coming out as the portal finds them yet another kill. Zaionsix gets one, a double now for Nas. iApex, the lone hobwa, the only one standing. Now he's been controlled as well. A triple kill for Nas. Nocturns Gaming gonna take the set 2-0.
And they'll be moving on, keeping their tournament hopes alive this land, Finch. But it's not out of the woods just yet. They still have quite a ways to go here, and it's going to be a pretty difficult one if you ask me, because a lot of competition at this LAN already, but as far as the international regions are concerned, Nocturnes end up taking it over GetOnMyLevel. Keep in mind though, GetOnMyLevel are playing with that mid lane substitute that is not their normal mid laner. I think Kamiru did a great job filling in for what it's worth.
Yeah, it was definitely a tough situation, but they came in and played well. They maybe a few times where I think Nocturnes got the better of them, but GetOnMyLevel showing some promise there in that set. But there's a reason we've kind of been building up this Nocturnes roster. They've got some of those tools that sometimes international teams can lack. The confidence in their shot calling is there. The ability to play beyond just that early laning phase is there. If you're one of those NAEU teams that might have to worry about Nocturnes later, that's not going to be easy. That
looked like a fired-up Nocturnes also in this set. It didn't seem like the same level of energy that they had yesterday during the North American and European competition. It was just them playing their own game, doing their own thing, focused on their own motives here, and I just think that they were really clean throughout the entirety of the set.
Yeah, I was really impressed by their decision-making in particular during that call, because these players are all really good at the game. Mechanically, they're all going to be skilled. The difference, even at the highest levels anywhere, is just going to be in your, your shot call, your recognition. When should we go in? When should we come out? When should we start these fights? And Nocturnes, they look like they're right there.
Well, I'm a fan. Personally, I think that they did a great job. They're definitely living up to the potential. They do have some of the cleanest line here, guys.
They do. They look good. I like it coming out there from Nocturnes. Gonna throw that out there. If they want to send something out, that's on them.
You're trying to cop a varsity jacket from Nocturnes?
Trying to make it happen here right now. Taco calling me out on it, but I'm trying to be subtle. But who is your MVP there from Nocturnes in Game 2? Go ahead and vote for us now in that Mixer poll so that we can get your thoughts on that one. Taco, anybody in particular stand out to you
Noitulover.
Game 2?
Everything that happened usually came off of the back of Noitulover. He was all over the place, whether it was the defender of Olympus with great timing, making sure that he was applying the damage mitigation or just jumping into the engagement really early on there. I love the way that he utilized the taunt, constantly kept GetOnMyLevel's whole team on edge, and still, that wasn't even enough because you can know that taunts are coming. That doesn't mean you can avoid them.
No, you absolutely cannot. Well, I'm right there with you. Noitulover certainly had a great game, but it's up to Mixer Chat in the end. We'll go ahead and get it back over to the analysts so they can break it down.
Thank you so much, casters. Commiserations, though, to GetOnMyLevel. Unable to find a victory against Nocturnes, but the Latin American team move on once again. Probably arguably the most productive region we've had so far.
I would say so. It's clearly between Nocturnes and Black Dragons on who is going to upset an SPL team first in Season 5. That's kind of waiting to see between those two. Oceania, I know they felt confident, but yesterday wasn't a particularly good showing from them. And GetOnMyLevel with so many rookies still. I mean, Atletico is in the same boat, but Atletico clearly had a little bit more confidence coming in. But Nocturnes, this is kind of what we expected from them. A clean game, Games 1 and Game 2, where they just looked like the better team.
It was a very clean game from them, and basically, you saw Taco talking about Noitulover again in that game. Had a very good situation for himself there.
Yeah.
Once more, and it's good to see that people are noticing the supports. Maybe the fans at home like to kill KDA more often than not. We see that more often, but supports are still making things work.
Certainly. I mean, it's SmiteVOD is going to be talked about a whole lot. I mean, I thought Beltway had a great game. That solo kill in the solo lane was huge. Getting a Zhong that far ahead, taking the tower down early on. It was just dominance from Nocturnes. You can kind of take your pick as far as your MVP.
SmiteVOD will get the MVP again. It's definitely the KDA, but he didn't have a terrible game whatsoever. The Susano stepped up and made an impact throughout this series. And at this point in time, I mean, the 7 kills up.
That's a 10.0 KDA is pretty good and certainly deserving of an MVP. SmiteVOD is so critical to this team. And look, all junglers are. That's the nature of the role, but SmiteVOD sometimes just has these games where he just seems to take over entirely, and this is one of them.
Are we disappointed with GetOnMyLevel's performance overall, or are we happy with how they perform considering the situation?
No, I don't think I'm disappointed with their performance, just because they have that sub in the mid lane. They are so new. And SEA, I mean, if you're watching the global series, you understand that SEA's playstyle is vastly different to that of the SPL. It is constant fighting, just brawling over everything. And that's just not going to work at this level. So when your entire region is playing one way, but that gets exploited very well by the international teams, it's difficult to get ready for that. And so you really do need to play against that style multiple times in order to have a hope of understanding how they do it, how we can beat it, what makes it work, you know, things like that. It takes time. And so I don't think I'm disappointed with GetOnMyLevel's performance at all. I think that Nocturnes just has that experience over them right now.
Well, Nocturnes, as we said, move on, but we're still not done with the lower brackets so far today. We've still got Atletico versus Black Dragons up next. So Oceania up against Brazil. Brazil, the favoured region, I'd say, coming into this with the experience and the players that they've got that people know around the world.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, Atletico, like I said, they had a lot of confidence yesterday during their pregame interview, but kind of realized, you know, woke up and smelled the roses that it's tough out here. And if they're going to beat Black Dragons, that'd be a huge victory for not only Atletico, but for Oceania as a whole.
Well, let's talk about those two teams. Let's have a little look at the interview with one of them now to see exactly how they're feeling coming into today.
All right, I've got Nocturnes here, SmiteVOD and Beltway. First off, congratulations on your game. And for me, what I was most impressed with was you all's confidence in your shot calling. Like, you knew when to go for the objectives, you knew when to take the fights. What do you think has led to y'all's ability to be so confident in when to pick the fights and when to do your shot calling and be more confident there?
I mean, if we feel comfort in one situation, we are going to get it. Maybe sometimes we make overconfident decisions, but I mean, that's it.
And you guys know that this is pretty much just a start again, because you got to come back tomorrow and everything. And looking at the brackets and everything considered, who do you think that you would prefer to play out of EU United and Rival?
I think I would like to play against Rival, because last LAN we didn't play against Europe, and if Rival win, we are not going to play against Europe, and I like to play to different styles of gameplay.
Oh, I like that y'all are, you know, wanting to try and play up against the best competition that's out there. I want to ask you a little bit more about this set that we just had. I mean, in game one, it kind of felt like y'all got to pick just whatever you all wanted. Can you all talk to me maybe a little bit about that pick ban phase and what went so well for y'all there?
I mean, they were Todd and Rat, and we got pretty much almost the dream come, you know. Yeah, we were really confident with that come.
And as a team environment overall, like, how's everybody feeling? Because day one, that can be a little bit rough sometimes. So when you guys first jumped into this set, was the team energy still, like, pretty high?
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, we lost yesterday. I was, like, kind of angry and upset, so I wanted to change that and prove that we are good.
Well, I think that you all certainly did that today. You looked really strong. Again, congratulations on getting this set. I'll make sure I keep watching you all throughout this tournament, and good luck in your matches.
Thank you.